Have you ever wondered why some women seem to develop deep emotional connections with men faster than they expected, often catching themselves completely off guard? What if I told you there are specific psychological triggers happening beneath the surface that most people never recognize? Today we're diving into the fascinating science behind emotional attachment and why understanding these patterns could change how you approach relationships forever. Before we go any further, let's be crystal clear about something important. This isn't about generalizing all women or suggesting anyone is weak for forming attachments. We're exploring universal human psychology that affects everyone differently, and understanding these mechanisms can actually empower you to make more conscious choices in your relationships. The first major factor is something called the oxytocin response. When women engage in physical touch, even something as simple as holding hands or hugging, their brains release this powerful bonding hormone. But here's what's fascinating. Women typically produce higher levels of oxytocin during these interactions compared to men. This means what feels like casual physical affection to one person might be creating much stronger emotional bonds in the other person's brain chemistry. Think about it this way. Every time there's physical contact, her brain is essentially saying this person is important and safe. It's not a conscious decision, it's happening at a neurological level. This is why what starts as casual dating can sometimes feel much more significant much faster than anticipated. The second psychological trigger involves something called intermittent reinforcement. This happens when attention and affection come unpredictably. When someone receives inconsistent responses, sometimes getting lots of attention, sometimes being ignored, the brain actually becomes more focused on that person. It's the same principle that makes gambling addictive. The uncertainty creates a psychological loop where the person becomes increasingly invested in getting the next positive response. Many women find themselves thinking about someone constantly not because the connection is necessarily deeper, but because their brain is trying to solve the puzzle of when the next positive interaction will happen. This uncertainty paradoxically strengthens the emotional attachment rather than weakening it. Here's where things get really interesting. There's a cognitive phenomenon called the Ben Franklin effect. When someone does favors for another person, they actually start liking that person more. So when women find themselves going out of their way to help, support, or nurture someone they're dating, each act of service makes them more emotionally invested. Their brain justifies these actions by deciding this person must be really important to them. This creates a feedback loop. The more she invests time, energy, or emotional support, the more attached she becomes. It's not manipulation. It's just how human psychology works. We value things more highly when we've invested in them. The fourth factor involves something called future projection. When women start imagining potential futures with someone, their brains begin forming emotional attachments to those imagined scenarios. These mental rehearsals feel real to the nervous system, creating genuine feelings for relationships that might not even exist yet. This is why conversations about dreams, goals, or future plans can accelerate emotional bonding so dramatically. Social media adds another layer to this equation. When someone starts appearing regularly in social media feeds, liking photos, or sending messages throughout the day, it creates a sense of constant presence. This digital connection tricks the brain into thinking there's more intimacy than might actually exist in real life. The frequency of contact, even if it's just through screens, accelerates the attachment process. Here's something crucial to understand. None of this means these feelings aren't real or valid.
Brenchemistri do enteli.
These attachments are completely genuine, even when they form quickly or unexpectedly. The key is developing awareness of these processes so you can make more intentional choices about how you engage with them. If you're someone who tends to form attachments quickly, try paying attention to these patterns in your own experience. Notice when oxytocin might be influencing your feelings. Recognize intermittent reinforcement when you see it. Be aware of how much you're investing emotionally compared to what you're receiving back. Understanding these psychological mechanisms isn't about avoiding connection, it's about creating healthier, more conscious relationships. When you know how your brain responds to different situations, you can make choices that align with what you actually want rather than just following unconscious patterns. The goal isn't to suppress natural bonding processes, but to understand them well enough that you're in the driver's seat of your own emotional experience. What aspects of attachment psychology do you recognize in your own relationships? Share your thoughts below.